I am the crock rockin', nickelback poppin', girls for all the girls, the Terminator Sam Beal, and you're eating a dub and watching the Main Event Wrestling Network. Ooh, baby.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? I thought there was a way to do this that I would be tinier so the background shows up. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, that's not it. No. Is it this one? No. Well, you get the full page of me today. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's not working. But it's all right. We're here. Hope everyone is well. We are here Thursday morning J edition of Kayfabe Coffee right here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. Hope you're well. Hope you have had a fine week. We're going to be here talking some AEW Dynamite, an absolutely fabulous show that they gave us last night in Detroit, Michigan. The crowd was incredible. Just a good show all the way around. The talking segments were excellent. The matches were excellent. I thought they really, really drove home and really got gears in motion for All In. We have 30-something days, and it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. I am looking forward to. I'm like hell bent on figuring out how to fix this. I don't think I'm going to be able to today. Is that it? Not really. I don't know. Whatever. But if you are here, thank you for being here. Eric in the chat. SummerSlam, dude. It's pretty simple. SummerSlam is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday night. So they're going to do Collision tonight because, my assumption is they would probably think that they would lose some fans Saturday due to SummerSlam. So they're just going to run it live tonight, and then they'll kind of let WWE have their weekend of SummerSlam. That would be my guess there. But if you are here, go give us a follow. mainevent_.net on Twitter, Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe for us. We're on the road to 400. I think we're like 7 or 8 subs away from 400 here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notification, help us out. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, man. That's what we're looking for. All right. Last night, Dynamite, Detroit, Michigan. Hell of a show. Hell of a show. Excited to talk about it. Show opens up. We get a recap of what happened at the end of Redemption between Will Ospreay. Well, all right. So the show opens up. We see that Kenny retains his title at Redemption. We see the attack from the Death Riders after Kenny's retain. We see everything that went down with Ospreay and the Death Riders, where Ospreay seemingly broke away from the Death Riders because he did not want to do what they wanted him to do to Kenny. And then we got a really cool shot where it showed the Death Riders frustrated and beaten up in the locker room after everything that went down, watching the stuff that was going down between Will and Kenny in the ring at the end of Redemption in real time. And it was going back and forth from the footage of what happened to Moxley's reaction. Moxley telling Will, like, you got to do it. You got to do it before he's going to do it and all this stuff. And then we see what happens with Kenny hitting Will with the one-winged angel and the Bucks coming out and everybody looking confused, and Kenny kind of, I don't consider it a full heel turn. Some people are saying it is. I think we're kind of just in the middle of things. But I thought it was a very cool way that they shot this opening kind of recap, going back and forth to Moxley and the Death Riders watching what is happening between Will and Kenny, and like Moxley's reactions to it, and like kind of yelling like at the screen saying like he's gonna do it to you, you gotta do it first, and then he does it and he's like, I told you. And like I thought it was very well shot, the way that they did that. Kyle, thanks for popping in, buddy. Kyle and some of the gang are on their way to Minnesota for SummerSlam, which more power to them. It's going to be a great weekend. I don't know why you would spend any of your own hard-earned money on that company. But, hey, man, to each their own. It'll be a good weekend with friends. The shows will probably be mid as fuck because that's just what they do now. But it should be a good time. It should be a good time being there with the gang and doing some stuff. I hope it's worth the thousands of dollars that you all are probably spending to go watch a company that doesn't give a shit about you. But I digress. We are here to talk AEW. That is why we are here. So that was really, really cool, the way that they shot that opening frame. I really much enjoyed that. You're going too, Eric? God damn, dude. You shills. Nothing will change if we keep going to the shows, guys. Nothing will change if we keep going to the shows. Just saying. I still watch them. I am very much part of the problem. But nothing will change if we keep going to the shows. So Moxley then looks at the camera and he says it's not over yet. And Will is now the best wrestler in the world with nothing to lose, living in the death ground. And then it goes live to the arena. Renee Paquette is backstage. She tells us she's waiting for Will Ospreay to arrive so she can interview him. And then we see Ospreay walking in. She tries to get his attention. He walks right past her, and he gets face-to-face with the Death Riders. Him and Moxley have a stare down. Garcia starts to, he comes over to the side. He starts to talk some shit, and Will just knocks him right in the face. And then Pac jumps in and goes face-to-face with Will, but Moxley holds him back. And Moxley's like, you sure you want to do this, Will? And Will gets in Moxley's face. He says he does. He goes, you don't get to pull the trigger for me. And he gives him the Death Riders patch, and he says that he's out. And Moxley says, it looks like Will has got it all figured out then, and looks at the gang, pulls Garcia up off the ground, and they let Will walk away. So that's that part of this. Then Renee is still trying to get Will. She's like, Will. She's still trying to get his attention to talk to Will. And we see Hangman Adam Page. We haven't seen him since he did that return on Collision a few weeks back where he cut that good promo. Haven't seen him since. He is here. He says he's here. He just wanted to catch up. He goes, I know what it feels like to be in your shoes right now, feeling all alone in the world. He goes, you didn't let me feel that way last year, so I'm returning the favor. And if you need anything, you just let me know. And then Ospreay says, I appreciate that, but I got too much going on my plate. The United Empire's down my neck. I got Death Riders to worry about now. I can't trust Kenny Omega. And he goes, and I think that means I can't trust you either, Hangman. And Hangman says, sometimes the deciding factor is whether or not you believe whether you believe it or not. And at Wembley, he's going to be the best he's ever been, and he knows Ospreay has it. And then Will just kind of thanks him, and that's the end of that segment. So Hangman is back. You love to see that. Hangman is back. Good segment. Moxley involved. Will going through everything that he's going through after what happened on Sunday. And now Hangman back in the fold just a month before All In here, offering his services to Will Ospreay, much like Will and Swerve did for him last year. This was a good opening segment. I liked it a lot. I liked the layering, the intertwining of everything involved here. This was really, really good way to start the show. And then we make our way to the ring area, and we have ourselves a three-way match for the AEW National Championship. The new national champion, Andre El Idolo, who defeated Mark Davis at Redemption, is defending against Jungle Jack Perry and Nick Wayne. Glad to see Nick Wayne back in tow. We've seen him. He's had multiple shows with matches now, which you love to see. And this was a good opener, man. This was a good opener. Action-packed from bell to bell. Jack Perry giving no Fs and just going insane in this match. Nick Wayne looked terrific in this match. The suicide destroyer, the suicide flip destroyer he did to the outside that kind of left all three guys laying. That was a great spot in this match. This was just really, really good. Andrade's got a new, he's got a new shirt. He's got a How You Know shirt. He's got new entrance music. He's got a new entrance video. He's the real Latino man. I love the new presentation. He's over. You can tell he's having a good time. He's enjoying himself. This was a good match to start the show here. And Andrade El Idolo hits the DM on Nick Wayne to retain his national championship in his first title defense. And post-match, Tony Schiavone is interviewing Andrade. He asks him how he feels. Andrade says he feels tranquilo because he screwed MJF and he was wearing the ring. He kisses it. He says, I screwed Don Callis. I can beat anyone, and I'm going to be the best national champion ever. Not hard to do. The title's only been around for a little bit. Not hard to do. And then he's asked if he thinks he'll compete in the Casino Gauntlet qualifying match next week. And you know what Andrade said. You know what he said.
I have one question for you. How you know?
That's what he said when he was asked. He said, how you know? And that was that. We then go backstage. Renee Paquette is interviewing the Brawling Birds. That was over in New Japan, didn't they? They did some stuff over in New Japan. I don't know. I don't watch New Japan religiously, but I'm pretty sure Will kind of distanced himself from them in Japan, I think. The Brawling Birds are backstage. They say it's All Elite Wrestling, not All Elite Talking. And Divine Dominion has been ducking them for too long. And whenever and wherever they see them, they better be ready to ball up their knuckles and brawl. So the Brawling Birds basically say, hey, Divine Dominion, on site. This is on site. Again, there was a lot of talking on this show, but I thought the main talking segments were spectacular. I thought they were really, really good. Which, that's all you want. That's all you want. And we had another talking segment right here. Renee Paquette is interviewing the Don Callis family. If MJF is coming back, I don't know if MJF is going to be back. We'll see. I hope so. But we'll see. Kyle Fletcher. So Renee Paquette is interviewing them, and she talks about how they all had a rough night. The Don Callis family had a rough night on Sunday and how they're all doing. And Kyle Fletcher says, I don't know what show you were watching because I retained my international championship with nobody's help, and I'm well on my way to being the greatest international champion of all time. And then Callis gets on the mic. He says, the good news is Mark Davis is now very angry, and I like him when he's angry. And he says, now Kevin Knight knows that he needs the family, and the sky is the limit for him. And then Kevin Knight takes over. He says it doesn't feel great to lose, but it felt great to go toe-to-toe with one of the greatest ever. And he says, we all know the Jet isn't done headlining shows and wrestling for world titles. He goes, I'm still the champ. He goes, but Kyle better watch out going up against Speedball next week since they're all tied up record-wise. And then Fletcher says the title will never leave the family. And as he says this, Okada walks in the room. And he just simply says, Kyle's right. That title will not be leaving the family. So foreshadowing to the eventual Okada-Kyle match that I think that we're getting it all in. Yes. And then the Don Callis family was involved in the next match. It was a trios match. It was Brian Cage, Jake Doyle, and Kyle Fletcher representing the DCF going up against Bandito and Brody King, and the new number one contender for Kyle Fletcher's international championship, Speedball Mike Bailey. Another really, really, really good match, fun match. This was good. Fletcher and Brody had some time at the beginning where they went back and forth with each other. Bandito and Kyle had their little run back there. That was really, really good. Speedball looked excellent in this match. He hit a crescent kick. He charged in and hit a beautiful crescent kick at one point. I thought Jake Doyle and Brian Cage used their muscle. They used their power here, throwing Bandito around, throwing Speedball around. Yeah. I mean, Brian Cage hit an F5 on Brody King. That was incredible. Just the two big men just doing that. Then Speedball hit a revolution kick, and then Fletcher hit her super kick. Bailey hit a really good springboard moonsault to the floor. Then that kind of led to a fire up from Bandito, who hit like a front kick power bomb, her and Karana on Doyle. And they kind of go back and forth with everybody getting their shit in. And then Speedball hits a crossed arm leg trap, like sunset flip, where he had the arms locked, and he pinned Jake Doyle to get the win. And then we had a stare down between Fletcher and Bailey after the match. Next week is Grand Slam Mexico, and we already have it announced because Speedball said at the press conference, or on the pay-per-view, I'm sorry, that Grand Slam Mexico, he is cashing in that contract, and it's going to be Kyle Fletcher and Speedball for the international championship. All right, and then this was really the first big promo segment of the night. This one was not live in the arena, but this was excellent. I really, really enjoyed this. It was the sit down, Renee with the Young Bucks and Copeland and Christian. The Bucks started off. They start talking about how important this title match is to them. They said that, people use the word dream match a lot, but this is a match that they never even thought was a possibility. But with both teams revolutionized tag team wrestling. And the match is super important. Copeland agrees. He says, hey, we're in the same boat here with mutual respect. What you guys have done for tag team wrestling. And he said, let's face it, in an era where tag team wrestling definitely took a back seat, what you guys have done, we admire. And you guys did a fine job keeping tag team wrestling alive. Then Christian goes, he says, we didn't come back to do a greatest hits tour. We're not just here to prove that we're the greatest tag team of our generation. We're the tag team champs, but we're trying to prove that we're the greatest tag team of your generation as well. And then Matt Jackson says, well, this is about cementing our legacy that we're still working on. You guys are made. You guys are made men, but we're still working on our legacy as the Young Bucks. And those AEW tag titles are our legacy. And he says, if we win those titles, we'll become the most decorated team in AEW history. We've spent 2 years getting those titles back, and then at All In last year, we lost everything, and then we blew our opportunity in Los Angeles. Then Copeland says he understands because they were both retired and told we'd never be able to wrestle again, and it's been 25 years since we've been tag champions. And then Matt says, you can take this as a warning if you'd like, but you're legends and all, but nothing is going to stop us, as in the Bucks, from taking those titles back. And you'll be lucky to get one on the board because we're going to come harder, faster, stronger, and take those titles back. Christian says, and then Christian had a good line. He goes, it sounds like you're trying to convince yourself of that right now when you're telling me that. That's what it sounds like. Tom, good to see you, friend. We're doing well, man. We're doing well. Hope you are too. Get on AEW, brother. It's the best wrestling in the world, man. You got to watch it. Yeah, so then, Christian Cage says that it sounds like you're trying to convince yourselves you'll rise to the occasion against us at All In, which I thought was a good line. He also says, I respect the Young Bucks. I respect everything you've done, but we're going to beat you. And then Copeland says, even with everything they've accomplished, people still doubt us at this stage of our career. He says the Bucks say that their entire career we've been fighting from underneath. We're too small. We throw too many super kicks. Our style doesn't work. But we're Matt and Nick Jackson. We're the Young Bucks. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. Really good. I liked it. I like the mutual respect. I like the way that they were talking to each other. You could just tell the mutual respect, but you can tell that both teams are going to kind of do whatever the hell they have to either retain or win these titles at All In. This was really, really good. This was really, really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah. And then we fast forward to another title match on the evening. The new AEW Women's TBS champion, Maya World, who had the upset of the night on Sunday, beating Shida to become the new TBS champ. She was challenging the CMLL Women's Heavyweight champ, Persephone. Another really good match here. Just another really good match. This whole thing here with the women was, this stretch here was spectacular. Good match. Started off, kind of feeling each other out, collar elbow, Persephone kind of using her power a little bit, as she was the bigger of the two. Eric, that's fine. That would be fun. I'm totally cool with them leaving it just one-on-one. Well, you know what I mean? One tag team versus one tag team. It is a dream match. It's a match that literally nobody ever thought we would see. I have no problem with them just keeping it one team versus one team. Have the New Day. And when you say the guns, you mean the Motor City Machine Guns? You don't mean the guns as in the Bang Bang Gang guns. You mean the Motor City Machine Guns, I assume? I believe we will be seeing the New Day at All In after that match. But yeah. Persephone starts it off. She's trying to use her power here. Maya keeps on countering, slipping out of things. Really, really good. A lot of reverse pins and that stuff, and we get that stalemate spot where the crowd kind of claps and gives them their flowers. When we get back from commercial, it really gets into it. Persephone hits a good half crab. She transitions it to an ankle lock. She rolls through for a victory roll, but for a kick out. A nice fall-away slam by Persephone. And then we get to the floor. There's a suicide dive from Persephone that was really, really nice. We're going back and forth on the floor. Maya spikes Persephone with a really good DDT on the outside and then brings her back in. Persephone hit a beautiful bridging German suplex. Maya kicks out. Then they go back and forth a little bit. And then Hikaru Shida makes her way to the ring. And as she's making her way to the ring, she throws her kendo stick in the ring to Persephone while she's distracting the ref. Persephone gets up to use the kendo stick, and we see Chris Statlander hop onto the apron. She grabs the kendo stick from Persephone, who then turns around, and Maya World does a bridging fall-away slam pin for the 1, 2, 3 to retain her title. Good match. Good to see Statlander back. There's a lot of ways this can go. Obviously, Shida is going to want her rematch to get her title back. She didn't hold that long. Persephone has an argument that she got, even though she was trying to cheat. Persephone, I think, does have an argument that Statlander screwed her a little bit, and she might have won that match if it wasn't for what happened with Shida and Stat. And then we see Statlander kind of make her return. Obviously, Persephone could have a problem with her, but her and Shida had problems before Stat went away for a little bit. So I'm interested to see kind of how this works. But good little end to that match. Maya World getting her first successful title defense. We then had Mark Davis in the back cutting a promo. He talked about how furious he is that he lost his national championship, but he says, I want to turn my ire to Will Ospreay. He says the record books show that we're 1-1, but your win has a heavy asterisk because you had Death Rider things happening on that one. He says you don't have any friends now, Will, so I'll leave the Don Callis family at home and I will chew you up and spit you out. And then we find out that next week on Grand Slam Mexico, we are getting that match. Everyone banned from ringside. Ospreay, Mark Davis. You know, I don't have much to add here. Mark Davis rules, guys. Mark Davis rules, man. It is what it is. He's unbelievable. Ever since the unfortunate injury to Doyle, who's back down with Brian Cage, but they put them together in a team. Doyle got hurt immediately. And they just said, you know what, Mark, you just go out there and have good matches, man, have singles matches. And he has kicked ass ever since. He has kicked ass ever since. Now they're letting him talk a little bit more, showing some personality, showing some anger. He's a hoss, man. He's just an old school hoss type wrestler to me. Mark Davis I love him. I love him. He's not going to beat Will next week at all. But, man, I'm glad he's getting these opportunities for sure. And then it was time, y'all. Championship celebration time, in my opinion, the best segment, the best thing that happened on this show last night. And this was a very strong show. Renee's out there in the ring. She calls out Willow Nightingale. We get the streamers. We get the fireworks. Willow comes out. The crowd just absolutely gives Willow her flowers. And I wrote on social media, I said, Willow deserves every second of this. And she did. She deserved every second of it. You could see how emotional she was getting. It was emotional. Watching as a fan, it was emotional. Because I think we all kind of feel the same way about Willow. So I just feel like we all really feel that same way about Willow. And because of injuries and other things and blah, 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 this was long overdue. Even though I still, even though I love Willow, a part of me still thinks Tekla deserved to defend that title at All In. But, I mean, you get this segment last night and you know. Willow says the crowd is far too kind. She's emotional. She says that the reactions she's getting are still surreal. And it's exactly the kind of thing people dream about. And she goes, but this is not just a dream. This is my dream. And she's so grateful for us being with her because there have been doubters along the way. She goes, and not everyone has always looked at a girl like her. She goes, you can make that as you will. Enthusiastic, quirky, chubby, weird. She goes, they didn't see it. They thought I'd never happen. She goes, but this past year, I've apparently made a lot of people happy. I became one half of the first ever AEW Women's Tag Champs. I beat Mercedes to win the TBS Championship. And then I got hurt. And that stunk. And it was tough. And it took me to a dark place. She goes, but you know who pulled me out of that dark place? And she said, it was Mom. And I just thought it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. The crowd starts chanting, Mom. Willow puts her over. She says, yeah, give it up for Jill. And she's like, Jill, she goes, Jill likes to call me her warrior princess. And the warrior princess chant starts going. And she said, Mom basically said, you got two options. You can either stay down or you can get up and fight. And Willow says, and I fought like hell. And I chose to fight to get into the casino gauntlet. And I won it. And then I fought a dangerous, toxic champion in Tekla. And I beat her so I can win this bad boy right here. And she goes, and I need everybody to listen to this. And she looks dead in the camera. And she says, this is for all of us. And she goes, if life has been kicking you around, don't give up. Don't you dare give up. Keep fighting. Keep pushing through. Because sometimes the comeback is even better than the dream. And I just thought everything about that whole first half of this was lovely. It was wholesome. You could tell she meant everything she said from the heart. I was lucky enough to be at the press conference. I got to go cover Redemption in Montreal over the weekend. She was asked about her comments about depression and things like that. And she went into it about how she was feeling and why she said those comments and all that. It's just important to talk about that type of stuff. And I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was wonderful. And then Mercedes Moné, her music hits, and she makes her way to the ring. And as good as the first half of that segment was, woo boy, my God, this was tremendous. The crowd is just giving it to Mercedes, booing the shit out, just giving it to her. And Mercedes says, I didn't come out here to ruin your celebration. I came out here for business. I want you to sign the damn contract right now. Willow doesn't hesitate. She grabs the contract. She puts it against Mercedes' chest and starts signing it, which at first you could see it kind of actually popped Mercedes. And then Mercedes kind of like shoved it in her face and was like, the fuck. They go face to face. Renee's trying to get in the middle of it. Renee says it's official. The match at All In is happening. And then Willow asks Mercedes, she goes, why are you upset today? She goes, is it because you're not getting all the attention? Is it because I beat you to end your 584-day reign as TBS champion? She goes, or is it because I have the one championship that you just can't get? And the crowd's like, ooh. And then Mercedes goes, she asks Willow, she goes, you know what I hate most about you? It's not your stupid smile or the fact that all these people hate, love, and adore you. It's the fact that every milestone, somehow your name is all over my story. And this was where it got real good. She goes, when I got hurt and my career stopped, all these people celebrated you. She goes, when I fought my way back and chose, I love how she said chose. She said, when I fought my way back from that injury and I chose AEW, I had to go through you. When I became the greatest TBS champion of all time, guess who took that all away? You, Willow. And she goes, and now you're holding the one thing that I'm destined to hold, the AEW Women's World Championship. She goes, and do you know how that makes me feel? And then the crowd, just massive shut the fuck up chants for Mercedes. And Mercedes is complaining about having to pick up the pieces as Willow just smiles. She says at All In, I'm not going to, and she goes, I'm not going to shut the hell up. She goes, I'm going to end Willow's fairy tale. She goes, Willow, you would be nothing without me. The only reason people cheer for you is because you stand across from Mercedes Moné. She goes, I want you to admit that I made you, I elevated you, I gave you the greatest moment of your career. So at All In, I'm not just going to take your title, I'm going to take your stupid smile too. And she like grabs her mouth, like trying to rip the smile off her mouth. And Willow doesn't get physical. Of course, man. Of course. Willow doesn't get physical. She just starts talking, rebutting. And she says, she talks about how she's the first ever Triple Crown champion. And all you do is complain that it's at your expense, Mercedes. And then as she's going in, we see Divine Dominion appear on the apron. Willow sees it. She throws the first punch and lands on Mercedes. But the numbers game, 3-on-1. They hit a double power bomb on Willow, and then the Brawling Birds come out as Mercedes is holding up the AEW Women's Championship. The Brawling Birds come out to make the save. They all run off, and then we find out that at Grand Slam Mexico next week, we have a massive trios match. It's going to be Mercedes and Divine Dominion going up against Willow and the Brawling Birds. That should be a lot of fun. Great segment. I would make an argument, one of the segments of the year for AEW on Dynamite with Mercedes and Willow. And the crowd all night, that crowd last night in Detroit, give yourself some flowers because they were spectacular. So good. And they were excellent. They were excellent in that promo. It felt like a really, really, really big deal. As it should, but it felt like a massive deal. That promo segment, like the crowd was hot for it. We then had another title match. It was Jon Moxley defending the AEW Continental Championship against Commander. This was a lot of fun, and I'm going to be honest with you. I expected Commander to hit the greatest hits. I did not expect Commander to get as much offense as he got in this. Jon Moxley was very giving during this match. Commander just pulling out all the stops. Obviously he did the rope walk flip, which I will never get sick of, ever. But he also hit man, he did a springboard crossbody that was really good. He did a guillotine leg drop off the top rope across the back of Moxley's neck at one point, which was really, really good. He hit a giant 450. I thought we were going to get him last night, Eric. I don't know what you're waiting for. I would hope it's tonight. They're free. They're in Detroit. They are the Motor City Machine Guns. I just don't know why you would debut. I mean, I guess if you want people to tune into Collision, but why would you debut him on Collision and not Dynamite? But I'm hoping. Moxley just keeps on kicking out. He hits the space flying tiger drop off the top, the rope walk shooting star press, and he misses. And then Moxley hits the blackout, hits the Death Rider, sleeper hold. Commander goes out. Moxley retains. Good match, good back and forth match. I love when Moxley has these type of matches, just to let everybody know that he can have these type of matches whenever he wants. Really, really good stuff. Commander's excellent. Mick Foley's backstage with the Bang Bang Gang. No Jay White. And I hope to God it's nothing too serious, week or two off, but Jay White just came back from being out for so long. He had a gnarly spot in the match where he did land on his top of his head / face. So I hope he's okay. It would be a damn shame if all of a sudden he was out again for a significant amount of time after just coming back. But we're talking AEW today, brother. So that's the wrong show, my man. Yeah. Ace Austin is there. He said, normally we'd love to be banging with Foley. He goes, well, we got problems right now. Juice Robinson then calls out the Dogs and the Death Riders. He says, any combination of y'all that have the testicular fortitude show up to Collision tomorrow for a fight. And he goes, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. And then Mick kind of comes in and goes, bang, bang, which got a laugh from the crowd. And Austin Gunn looks at him and goes, on any other night, we'd be down with that. He goes, but not tonight. It's guns up. And that's the end of that. So that was pretty good. Then we have ourselves the Trios Championships title match. It is the conglomeration. Incredible. Yeah. No, you don't have to apologize. You can talk about whatever you want in the chat. I don't want you to think that we're going to get to that when this is strictly a Dynamite recap thing. But yeah, just, not the first time AEW has done something good like that. I think it's a tremendous touching move of class by AEW and Tony Khan to do that. Rebel apparently, I believe, is going to try to be there that night, which would be nice to see her with everything that's going on there. I did get challenged to an ice bucket challenge. I will be completing that by week's end. I agree with you. It is really a really touching thing. That's going to be a special show. Conglomeration, Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong defending the Trios Championships against the Demand. And by God, we got ourselves new champions on AEW Dynamite last night as the Demand, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona are your new AEW Trios champions. This was a good battle. Ricochet doing Ricochet things. Toa Leona and Bishop Khan using their size advantage. Roderick Strong breaking backs. Kyle O'Reilly submitting, submissions, being physical. Orange Cassidy being over as hell. But they needed help. It was a back and forth affair. It looked like the conglomeration were going to retain and leave remaining as champions. And Lethal Twist made their presence felt. Blake Christian does a springboard. It's Ricochet, man. It's Ricochet. I actually think that this was the right choice. I actually thought this was the right choice. It felt like to me, like when they announced this match, I was like, the Demand should win that match and be the Trios champs for a while and have some banger matches with them. But But yeah, Lethal Twist gets involved. They come in, they distract. Blake Christian hits a springboard, hits Orange Cassidy over the head with the belt, right into the spirit gun from Ricochet. He covers Orange Cassidy. 1, 2, 3, new champs. And then after the match, Lethal Twist and the Demand are beating down the conglomeration. Brody King makes the save, but after a little bit, the numbers game. And then we hear Hangman Adam Page's music. He's got a barbed wire chair. He hits a buckshot lariat on Jay Lethal. And the good guys stand tall. My assumption is, I know Hangman just came back. I am a bit worrisome about him just kind of hanging out with the conglomeration. Not because I dislike the conglomeration, but like, he's fucking Hangman Page. I know he can't fight for the world title anymore, but like, you know. But my assumption is heading into All In that this is going to be whatever multi-man cage match, Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts, whatever they're going to do at All In, what crazy match they're going to do with like a 5 or 6 man team. This was a tease to that, was it not? You get the Lethal Twist, you get the Demand, that's 6. You get the conglomeration, you got Hangman. If Takeshita comes back, that's the vibe I get, is that this is going to be the multi-man Anarchy match of the show, of All In. But we'll see. We got time. We then go to the back. The Death Riders are outside. Wheeler Yuta says that the Bang Bang Gang wants to blame them for their failures. But if you want to throw around open challenges, then Pac says that's no skin off our ball sacks. We'll see you tomorrow. Garcia starts talking. He goes, you know what? Pac was right about Will Ospreay all along. He goes, you leaving anytime things get hard. When New Japan got hard, you left. When it got hard here, you left. And he goes, but I'll be seeing you very soon, Billy boy. So apparently we're going to get tonight on Collision, we're getting Daniel Garcia and Will Ospreay, which should be very good. And then Moxley says, I'm sick of all the talk about the way that we do things lately, the morality police, with the play by the rules that are necessary, and we don't give a damn what you think about it. The Continental Championship represents the sport I love, just you and what's in your head. And then he goes into something, and he says, backstage is a buzz about the Continental Cup, and I'm walking into how many challengers? He goes, well, bring it on. I run into the fire, and if this is where my title reign ends in a hail of bullets, smoke, and fire in the Continental Cup, then so be it. And I'm like, all right, good promo by Moxley. But in the back of my head, the whole time, I'm like, what the fuck is the Continental Cup? What? Did anybody hear about this? What is the Continental Cup? I didn't hear. I don't know what this is. So Moxley's talking about it. Cool. Good promo. But I'm sitting here going, I have no idea what that... They didn't say a damn thing about this Continental Cup. I don't think he's talking about the Continental Classic. That happens in the winter. So I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. Continental Cup. No idea. But anyway. Main event segment time. Another really good face-to-face promo segment on this show. There were quite a few of them. And they all hit. Tony Schiavone introduces Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay immediately comes out. And Omega says, what I have to say isn't something that the crowd needs to hear. It's personal. It's something I want to say to Will. But since you're out here, let's make it a little fun. He goes, back when I was in kindergarten, there used to be a thing called show and tell. And on Sunday night, I showed you how I felt about you by giving you a one-winged angel in the center of the ring. He goes, doesn't matter if the fans misunderstood it. I thought you would get it, Will. But since you're angry, let's move to the tell part. He goes, I care about you, Will. He goes, you mean the world to me. And I want the world for you. And then he goes, do you remember making promises to try our best and become champions back in the day? He goes, how could you forget that, right? And then Omega says, 10 out of 10 times, 100% of the time, I always put our friendship before this belt. Every single time. He goes, and you don't get why, Will. It's the whole reason I let you enter the Owen Cup on your own. because it brought me joy to see you successful. He goes, but how did you respond to that, Will? He goes, your voice was laced with disappointment. You said it sucks that I gave up on myself, that I had no idea how deep. He goes, you have no idea how deep those words cut. He goes, but I'll ask you, Will, does it look like I gave up? He goes, does this title look like I gave up? He goes, I know you're not one to talk down to me. And even with plenty of warnings about the Death Riders, and especially Jon Moxley, you always pretended you knew better. He goes, so what's your excuse now that it blew up in your face? And then Ospreay gets on the mic. He goes, my excuse is I came back too early from a neck surgery, and all I could think about was revenge. He says, when I finally got here, I thought I'd had it, but I let it slip through my fingers. And when I lost that match, I lost every bit of confidence that came with it. I let everybody down. My body crapped out on me, and I couldn't deliver. And he goes, and in that moment, I had no friends to turn to. No Kyle, no Davis, no Callum. He couldn't even turn to my own hero, Omega. And Omega, off mic at this point when he says that, is yelling at Will, which I loved. And Will does something similar in a few minutes that we'll talk about. But and I was there. Omega's yelling, I was there. I was always there. And I loved it. I loved that it was off mic, and Omega's like, no, that's bullshit, man. I was there. But Ospreay continues. He's saying, the guy that took his life, the guy he hated, he gave new life and an opportunity. He goes, and then Omega says, the moment I saw John as a 4-time world champion who could have taken him where he always wanted to be. I'm sorry. This is Will still. He goes, as of that moment, I saw John as a 4-time world champion who could have taken him where I always wanted to be. He goes, you want honesty, Kenny? He goes, honestly, I liked being a Death Rider. He goes, I liked the camaraderie. I loved the training. He goes, I felt like the old version of me back in Japan, where I would go town to town with my boys, with my killers watching my back. He goes, and when I got to know the Death Riders, I got to understand why they're so protective of this place. He goes, but that's where it ends. I don't share the same philosophy of Mox on the way to become world champion, because I know I can become world champion by simply being the best. And he said, and when I saw you face down in the ring, chair around your neck, the same thing they did to me, I couldn't see someone I love go through that. And then Omega says, is that really what it is? He goes, because what I recall is after a grueling match defending my title to make your dream come true, I was sitting in the ring getting beat up and stomped on for minutes that felt like hours. And I felt that chair slip around my neck. I didn't have the energy to fight back or even take the chair off this fucking neck. So I felt like I just had to close my eyes and accept it. I heard the people and the cheers. I felt the energy, and somehow I knew that you were there and that you came to save me. And then minutes passed, which felt like an eternity. I took the chair off without the energy to cry my name. I stood up and turned around, and I saw a scene that painted a picture about you, Will, that's more than I needed to know. You were standing there holding my title with the ripped plastic bag at your feet, clear that it took so long to help because you were thinking about doing it. And he goes, and worse was the look, like you expected a thank you. And he goes, for what? A trap that you set yourself? And this is where Will off mic started yelling and was like, I didn't set the trap. That's bullshit. I didn't set the trap. No way. They did a really good job because you could feel the animosity. You could tell these guys were angry with each other, but the way that they were talking off mic, and like, it felt like a brotherly family fight where you're all saying stuff and then you're defending yourselves. And they played this off really, really good. So Will's yelling, I didn't set it up. And Kenny slaps him across the face and calls him a liar. This is good. The crowd starts going nuts. He goes, you're a liar. You're a liar. And then Kenny says, I thought you were my friend, Will. And then Will says, I was your friend. And the crowd's like, oh, shit. Then Kenny sets the belt down on the ground. He says, so is this all it is now? Is this all I am to you now? Is just a challenger now? That's what our friendship was. Slaps Will again. He goes, you want to talk tough? Why aren't you talking tough now? Slaps him again. He says, every time you're in the pressure cooler, Will, you fail. He goes, and that's why you'll always be a step behind. And if you haven't gotten to the point yet, slaps Ospreay again, and then Ospreay hits Kenny. He fires back. And then he sets up for a hidden blade. Kenny turns around. Will stops. Kenny falls to the ground in the ring. And Will looks right at him. And he goes, no matter how much I love and respect you, Kenny, if you put your hands on me again, I will kick the shit out of you. Awesome. Omega slides out of the ring. Ospreay then says, I come here every week from the UK to remind everybody that this is where the best wrestle. I've earned my spot to challenge for that championship. I've given my neck for the spot to challenge for that championship. And I'm standing before the biggest mountain to climb, a mountain I've been waiting to climb for 10 years. He goes, that's one big mountain to push that ball up, but winners want the ball. The ace wants the ball. I want the ball. He goes, the 90 minutes are done. We're in the penalties. He cracks a little jab at it, at his own England football team. He goes, if you know anything about English football, we're not that good at penalties, which is, if you follow the World Cup, if you get it, you get it. All right. If you know, as the kids say. He goes, the difference is it's my turn to kick the ball. My entire country is depending on me to bring it home. They're all asking the same question. Can I pull the trigger? He goes, but I'm not going to do it like Kenny from behind. I'm not going to do it like Moxley and injure him and injure you the day before. I want you, Kenny Omega, at your best. The best versus the best. I'm going to pull the trigger when it matters the most. And when I do pull the trigger, Kenny, you will see it coming. And he drops the mic. Will's music hits. And that's how the show goes off the air. Real good. Real good episode of Dynamite. 4 championship matches that were all good. No titles changed hands as expected, but the matches themselves are really good. The talking segments on this show were just next level. The sit down with Cope and Christian and the Bucks was excellent. The whole Willow celebration, which turned into the face-to-face with Mercedes, might have been the best segment AEW's put on all year. And then this ending sequence in face-to-face with Kenny and Will was also top tier, really ramping up the intensity for All In. Not a lot of matches booked at this moment, 3 or 4, maybe 5 max, but 4 or so. But all of them, you felt the importance of these matches last night. I thought these talking segments, coming into Dynamite, we had 3 matches booked: the tag title match, the women's title match, and the world title and the men's world title match. And I thought they all had 3 major talking segments last night, and all 3 of them made me I already cared about all these matches, but all 3 of them made me want to see these matches tomorrow. And that's what you want out of your promo segments. And AEW doesn't usually do a ton of long form promo segments like we saw last night, but the ones they did last night were chef's kiss. Tremendous stuff. And now we get a jam-packed Collision tonight, where we might see the debut of a tag team potentially who's from the Detroit area. Who knows? But there'll be hopefully some more news coming out of Collision tonight. Just a really strong episode of Dynamite leading into the next month as we build to the biggest show of the year for AEW, All In. Before we get out of here today, please go give us a follow. Instagram, X, mainevent_net on there. This QR code in the corner, click that. It'll bring you to all our other links and everywhere you need to go and you need to know about everything we're doing here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. Don't forget to subscribe for more Main Event content. We are on the road for 400. We're almost there, 7 or 8 away from getting to 400. So share it out. Tell your friends. Have them subscribe. We would love to get to 400 by the time SummerSlam weekend is over. And speaking of SummerSlam weekend, we will have content for you all weekend here. We will have main event mixers and previews for SummerSlam on both weekend days here. I will be watching SummerSlam. A lot of the main event crew is on their way to Minnesota covering SummerSlam. Pluggo is on his way there covering it for Love Wrestling, where we do beards, which will be live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on Love Wrestling. We got Stash Club Wrestling joining us, both Jimmy and John of Stash Club joining us. Should be a very, very good time tonight if you are around 8 p.m. Eastern. But I hope you enjoyed Dynamite last night. Hope you enjoyed Redemption this past weekend. Hope you enjoy SummerSlam this weekend. Hopefully they give us a good show. We'll all be watching. Hope you enjoyed the last hour here with me, your Morning Jay. We will be back next week as we build to All In. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate all of it. Until then, you all know the drill. For everybody here at the Main Event Network, we appreciate you all. Please give us a follow at the Main Event Wrestling Network. Until next time, peace out.
What up, though? You already know what it is. Best in the world, aka The Problem. Isaiah Broner. And you watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.